Hello and welcome to my series where I go through all my different characters from Zombicide that I own. This is Lorna for Zombicide White Death and her counterpart from Eternal Empire, where I'm going to go over her skills and what she do and what role she fits into the very game itself. So she's actually kind of the fastest character from White Death because of her level 1 skill 1 free movement, which she has on both of her level 1 skills, which basically means that once per turn she can make a free move action to move once. It's a very basic skills, but don't underestimate it, because normally you want to get into position and start attacking, and that's where free movement is really good. Her guard skills, on the other hand, is actually one of, if not my favorite guard skills to have, because how White Death and the Eternal Empire deals with these characters called the NPC characters, because that was the mechanic they introduced in that. And what it does is basically, normally when they make a range attack, they can only deal 1 damage, so can only eliminate normal zombies, but not brutes and above. But if you have her command them, they are able to deal with brutes with range attack, which is really important, because especially in White Death, because most of the battle is centered around the wall between you and the zombies. Her level 3 skill is +1 to die combat, so this is where you look at how many dice your weapon have. Like this one have 2, and then it's simply you take 2 die and add a third one to it. But you can also choose to go freeze combat, which is basically your ability to, when you eliminate a zombie in a zone, you can place, I don't have any of the markers at the hand, but a freeze marker. That means if all the zombies in that zone cannot make a move during the next zombie activation phase, instead just remove the freeze marker, which I think it's an interesting skill. Personally, I prefer the die combat, but this one, especially if you're managing to give her a ranged melee weapon or a ranged weapon, she can really be kind of the controller of the battlefield. Now in level 3 she again get +1 die combat. So again, if we take the example of the spear here, where you normally have 2, and if you take the 1 die combat here and 1 die combat here, you will end up having 4 dice instead of just 2. So if you're going for a big die build, I think this is a really fun skill to use, but I don't think it's the best one in them. Her other skill is 1 free combat action, and just like the free movement action, it's basically you can make a combat spell cast, attack action, melee action, or range action for free once per turn. And I think that's really strong, but that all pales in comparison to her super strength, which basically turn every weapon that she wields, like this one, can only deal with normal zombies. But this does it that they do 3 damage, so they can up and deal with abominations, brutes, everything, for all melee weapons. And I think it's probably the strongest skill in the game, and why I think that her Eternal Empire kind of got a little bit nerfed because of that. Super strength is pretty much just one of the best abilities. I can't argue with that. Her Eternal Empire have a little different. Instead of 1 die extra combat and super strength, she got, when you roll a 6, you can add +1 +1 damage to combat, which means if you roll a 6, instead of this would deal 1 damage, it would deal 2 damage. And if it was a 2 damage weapon, you can get up to dealing 3 damage if you're lucky enough to hit enough 6s to deal with the bigger zombies. But I think this is pretty much a luck-based skill, which is why I've never been a big fan of these cheat skills, because these roll 6 skills, especially not when they add a cheat component to it. Her other skill is if you roll a 6 again, you take another die and you roll that, and if it's a 6 again, you can roll another die until simply you have rolled. You don't roll any more 6s. So, like again, if we take the spear with 2 dice and take the 3 and roll them, and let's say that this one rolled a 6, you can take one new die, roll that one. Now this one rolled a 1, but if it rolls a 6, you can do it again. So it's a really good way to, if you feel like gambling on getting a lot of 6s, to either get a lot of dice or get a lot of damage in combat. Now her body slot weapon is actually a little bit different. I've already shown it. This is a melee weapon, but you can see normally melee weapons would have, let's see if we can get it to focus, have a range of 0 to 1, but this one only have a 1 to 1, which means you can attack zombies from outside your zone, where normal melee weapons only have 0. I misspoke before. So it's kind of working like a ranged weapon, but it have all the melee probabilities, which means you often would like to have a sidearm, and why it's a good one to have in your body slot. So you have a sidearm build, and if you need to, you can poke in, especially if you're just poking for the freeze of combat. Her Eternal Empire's body slot is basically Demon Spear, which is a key version of the spear, where by spending one key point like this, instead of rolling 2 dice, you roll 4 dice, but you can only do that once per turn. And combining that with level 3 skill of 1 die, you can actually reach a really high amount of dice with a single weapon. But it does have the weakness that if you only have spear type weapon and they are in melee combat, you can't really deal with them unless someone come out in and help you. Now personally, I think she is probably my second favorite character from White Death and Eternal Empire. White Death, just Eternal Empire have a little bit different characters. Just because that she's not a human, but more like a fox girl, which I think is cool, but also that her models just look awesome with a bow and spear, showing that she's really this combative combat character. Now, I don't have so much more to say about her because I think she's a pretty simple character, but if you get her to level 4 in her White Death, she literally can carry the rest of the team just because of of super strength. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this one and have a nice day.